I am Professor Thomas White. I am founder and executive director of IBECC. Just wanted to say a few words about the biathlon. We actually at IBECC have two activities that are, I think, unique. There's the Wednesday night moral compass competition, which you'll find out about on Wednesday night. There's also what we currently call the world's most intellectually daunting biathlon, which is a combination of an academic and athletic contest. I wanted to say a little bit about, particularly since this is so unusual, what the history was, and also to encourage you to be involved and tell you a little bit about why it is, although we refer to it as an athletic academic competition, the athletic part is not something to feel daunted about because it's something you can do just by walking. So I want to explain a little bit of the history of the event and also show you how we do the scoring to encourage everyone to be involved. So this came about initially because when I created IBECC in 1996, initially as a campus program at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, I thought that as an ethics event, we should do more than just talk about ethics, sort of study ethical issues. Obviously, that's very important, but I thought it would also be good, to model appropriate positive behavior by trying to do some good in our community. That's a tough thing to do, figure out, how to do that in connection with an academic program. But since I'm a runner, I realized that, people put on 5Ks, 10Ks all the time to raise money for worthy charities. So we created what we called the LMU Run for the Bay, which was a 5K, 10K community event that we held on the LMU campus. We attracted about 600, 700 runners and typically raised a couple $1,000s and donated to a local environmental group. Now, the trick became how to encourage teams that were involved in the competition to be involved in the run as well. Well, first of all, it's optional, so there's no problem there. But we thought that we'd have this, combined competition. That is to encourage teams to be involved, to sort of contribute to the, making the world a better place. And so that's how we came up with the idea of having one part of the score coming from the team's performance in the presentation and another part of the score coming from the team's competition in the race. Now, we know that everybody are not lifelong runners, and so we wanted to come up with a way to encourage people to be involved if they simply walked the course. And so we did. And so that's worked out extremely well. When we held the event on the LMU campus, most teams got involved, and we did that from 1996 through, I think it was 2007, 2008. At that point, we suspended the run because IBECC was invited to be held at the annual meeting of the Ethics and Compliance Officer Association. So we moved off campus, and the ECOA, which is the premier professional association of ethics and compliance officers, they held their event in different cities every year. So we were in Chicago, we were in Seattle, we were in New Orleans, we were in Tucson, we were in San Diego. So we moved from year to year, and that really made it very difficult to hold anything like the biathlon. In 2016, we sort of settled into an East Coast, West Coast pattern for IBECC, but it was still really too difficult at that point to put on a 5K, 10K. That's not something you can just do every other year in the way, with particularly the way that IBECC was growing. So we then came on some version of what we have now. We did that in Cambridge, we did that in LA, we did in Santa Monica rather in 2008, in 17, in Boston in 2018. Now, when we hit the pandemic, obviously things became really tough, but we still had some version, at least for the last couple of years. And we decided that the best way to do this, to get this particularly in light of the pandemic, was that the main prize of the biathlon was to have the opportunity for a team to designate a local charity. And so we donated to a women's shelter, we donated to some other worthy causes. And so the primary incentive for your team to be involved is that you get to designate a charity that IBECC will donate $500 to in your name, and thus trying to make the world a better place. There are ways to verify the charities of charities. In the US, it's the 501c3. But legitimate charity, we're happy to honor that, and within the limitations we have to operate with as a nonprofit. But that's really the primary incentive. That is, your team gets to designate an organization to receive a gift. Now, the way that we want to do the way that we do this in order to encourage everyone to be involved is to minimize the sort of the competitiveness, on the running side, by making it this issue of the factor of how many steps the teams can accumulate within 30 minutes. So the scoring is complicated, and I want to show that to you. And I want to show that to you again to encourage you to realize that virtually any team can be competitive in this. So first of all, let me show you the scoring, and then I want to give you one final bit of encouragement. Okay, so here is the IBECC website, world's most intellectually daunting biathlon. This shows you that this gives you a brief overview of the history. You can read that if you want. But here's the scoring. Scoring is based on a variety of factors. It's a complex formula, the point of which is to make it highly competitive for everybody. First of all, there's a score based on how you do on the full presentation, the one you do on Thursday. The Uber judge, the senior judges of each division, will fill out a form and give you a score. We will then, and this for the sake of argument, we've got we've got 4 teams here. We get a score, and then we have a secondary score, which is the ranking, and that's the one that we're going to use. It isn't necessarily here, it's how you end up against other teams. Now, then on the run, jog, and walk points rating. So the idea is that you'd set aside 30 minutes, and you can do this before coming to IBECC if you want. You can do it, when you're here, we have an opportunity for that, but you can do this before you come. Now, virtually every cell phone now has a smartphone, has a pedometer. And if not, it's an app you can download for free. So this is something that should be easy to do. Idea is you take 30 minutes and you see how many steps you can cover in that time. And of course, since this is an ethics competition, we're going to trust that you're being honest and truthful in when you report the numbers. So how many steps do you cover in 30 minutes? Now, obviously, if you're running, you're going to cover more steps. If you're jogging, a little less than that. If you're just walking, less than that. So, and you can come back and take a look at this to get a better sense of this. But again, we're working with 4 hypothetical teams. One has 3 members and 3 runners. The other, you see 4 members, combination. This is 5, 4. So again, we're looking to find ways to even things out and make things fair across the board. So we start with the number of steps from each team member. Add those together, and so we get the number of total each team. Now we multiply that by the percentage of team members who participated. So in this case, it was all 3. So that's 1. You multiply it by this. Team C, 80% participated. You see what that gives us there. Then we do the same thing we did above. We rank them, and then we get a final score. the presentation ranking versus the step ranking. That gives us a final score here. Now notice that we end up with it, in this case, so it's low score wins in this case. Notice we end up with a tie, and ties, which are not that unusual, ties are broken by whether or not a team won or placed in its division in the 3 presentations, full 10-minute, 90-second, or if there's still a tie, the team score in the ethics section of the Uber judges evaluation. So that's the way we do the scoring. If you're interested, I'd encourage you to go back, take a look at that, but you'll see that it's not at all unusual over the years that we have had the biathlon won by a team of walkers. People, all members of the team did it, so they're able to get a boost in the way that we do the calculation, and they also obviously did well in the presentation. So I definitely encourage you to think about that because it's a good thing. It's also fun. The other thing I want to mention to you as far as encouragement for doing this is that I know from years of talking to corporate recruiters that they're always looking for something distinctive about candidates for internships or candidates for jobs. And one of the disadvantages that people who are just finishing college, just finishing an MBA, is that you're really similar in many ways to the other members of the pool. Recruiters are looking for something that sets you apart. Now, I can promise you that if you have on your resume that you participated in the world's most intellectually daunting biathlon, that was part of a business ethics competition, part of the International Business Ethics Case Competition, that is going to be so intriguing that the person interviewing you is going to say to you, "What is that?" Now, at that point, you get the benefit of being able to explain, basically sort of take over the interview in a polite and professional way, explain everything about what you did in a way that tells the interviewer about your presentation skills, your research skills, your team building skills, and the like, and that you were willing to, you say whether you won or not, you can say, we were doing this to try to raise money for a good group. So again, our primary motivation is to try to help make the world a better place by giving you the opportunity to direct a gift towards a worthy cause. I want you to appreciate the fact that this is one of those things that really can impress recruiters. Recruiters and companies really like to see people having been involved in competitions. Presentations, IBECC is, if you don't know it yet, IBECC is designed around what we've been told by executives is what new hires are weak in. This gives you a really good boost. And then something more than that, not only do they like the idea of people being in competitions. If something like this can set you apart, it may get you a second look. It may get somebody to give you kind of a second look in an internship or a job search. Now, you'll also see on the website, on the biathlon page, there is a link to someone who was involved in the very first biathlon. And so I'd encourage you to take a look at that video. And so think about it. There'll be more information about this, about how to register and how we'll be doing collecting the scoring. But I just wanted to say a little something to encourage you to be involved in this.